Let's talk about this game. Let's talk about this game, which it is the most controversial game at the moment. So we can see it right here. Let me just increase this. From Palworld English profile. So total numbers of players exceeds 90 million. It has been 2 weeks since Palworld was released. Thank you. Steam 12 million copies. Xbox 7 million players. This was just a few hours ago. We can say 4 hours ago. Palworld showed their new numbers, which 19 million players is huge, especially for a new IP. And this is going to spark the controversy, right? Because many people argue that this game is not a new IP, just inspiration. It takes a lot of inspirations for a lot of games. And we're going to talk about this in this video. But to start things off, Palworld 12 million copies sold on Steam alone. Xbox says players. It does not say how many people bought the game. We can suppose that these numbers are from people playing the game using Xbox Game Pass. But let's go react to Moist Critical. Let's see this video because I think he pretty much have a nice video. Let's take a look, and we're gonna be talking about in this video about this whole Palworld situation.
Fortunately, the fun police have arrived at my door, sirens blaring, and they're demanding that I give a statement defending.
So yeah, this game, which I haven't played, okay, I haven't played this game. I'm fighting to not play this game because I don't want I don't want something taking my time. Okay, Palworld I think released January 24. We can see here. I do have the tab open. Okay, I do have the tab open, so we can see the numbers. Let me see. Palworld released on January 24. Yeah, I was right. Okay, so you guys can see here the game have a peak of 2.1 million players. Right now it's starting to decrease the number of concurrent players, but still over 600 right now, which is probably the lowest that's gonna be. We can see here the lowest is 23 p.m. UTC. It's 22, so it's probably the lowest. It's gonna be 600,000 players since it has been released. Pretty much, yeah. This game is bonkers, guys. So if you go to charts, we're gonna see all the history, all time peak players. So you guys can see Palworld is the second game with the most concurrent players after PUBG, which is I cannot express how much of a big deal this is. But let's go back to Most Critical video.
My crime of enjoying Palworld. Palworld is a game that's become more popular than Stanley Cups right now, with an absolute explosion onto the scene, selling over 7 million copies in less than a week and reaching a concurrent player.
Yeah, this was 7 million, so it's in 12 now. It's crazy.
Count, which is the second highest peak Steam has ever seen, second only to PUBG, which is a game that was so popular that it was basically bigger than the Bible for a while. And another thing that really helped with this is the price point. Palworld is under $30.
Yeah, so this game it's cheap. It's a cheap game because it's in early access.
While every Pokemon game, even the older ones like Sword and Shield and Let's Go Pikachu, are still $60, and yet Palworld offers 20 times the amount of content and 20 times the fun of these modern Game Freak Pokemon games.
Yeah, I see that because this game, let's be honest, this is a monster taming game. At a surface level. I know I've watched a bunch of reviews. People say that it takes a lot of inspiration from survival games. I think it's Ark. Is it Ark, the name of the game? That a lot of people say that it takes inspiration from. And a lot of the designs, which I think Moist is going to talk about in this video.
It's a better deal. If you've been watching any of my streams over the last few days, or even just over the last few days, I've uploaded 3 videos on this bad boy. It's pretty clear this thing makes me smile. I've got some childlike whimsy when it comes
I'm fighting to not play this game.
To Palworld. It's extremely rare for me to get as invested in a game
playing 100 hours. Oh my god.
As I have with Palworld. The game is surprisingly deep. It's more of a survival game that has a Pokemon element to it for creature catching, and I just love the entire package here. It's in early access, so it's expectedly buggy and glitches out the wazoo with so many flaws and so many problems, but it has so many elements in it that are done well enough and haven't really been blended together successfully in the past that it feels unique and really fun. The thing it gets
It is so. I've seen people talking about this, but is this game the Fortnite event for the survival, the genre that Pokemon is on? Because the numbers are staggering. 19 million players just like in 2 weeks.
compared to most besides
No, in 1 week actually. 1 week, guys.
Pokemon is Ark, and Ark is a game that I found so boring that it would probably cure anyone's insomnia if they were exposed to
it's
it for more than 15 minutes. It's also non-functional. I tried to play Ark on stream because my friends and I wanted to build up a really nice crew and eventually raid the devs in the game, but I couldn't even play it on stream because it's so infested with hackers. Anytime I went to a server, a hacker would go in and shut it down and kick us out for 10 minutes. So I couldn't even play that fucking thing. And Palworld just works. Even when the servers do go down from stress, they're only down for 5 minutes.
It's crazy because the servers are down because there are so many people playing and they don't have the capacity to support this many people.
Tops. Whereas in Ark,
I think they're gonna actually Xbox today. Xbox World. I think they had a blog post today. Let me see. Okay. Blog post from Xbox. So, Palworld becomes the biggest third-party Game Pass launch ever. So, you guys, just to give some perspective, I think GTA 5 was on Game Pass for a while. I think also the Guardian of the Galaxy, I think, was also at some time on Game Pass. And none of these games were able to beat the 7 million players that Palworld has on Xbox. Which they said that they're working now. So see here. I think, yeah. So here we can see on Xbox part, we're working with Pocket Pair to help support for Xbox versions of the game. We are providing support to enable dedicated servers. Well, because there's too many people playing the game. Offering journey resources to help with GPU and memory optimization. Speeding up the process to make Palworld updates available for players and working with the team to optimize title for our platform. So yeah, Palworld is blowing up and Xbox is trying to capitalize on this. Because it might be possible that this game grows even more. It is at 19 million players. It might be, it might get to 30 million. And if Xbox has the majority of the players, it's going to be very good for them. They need something like this, actually. Multiplayer games are huge. They do drive people to their service, because some people might subscribe to Game Pass for this alone, and even if the game is cheap. Yeah, let's go back to the video.
You get into a server within 5 minutes, you've just done a speedrun world record. Now, I know I'm kind of gushing grannies about Palworld right off rip, but I want to make it clear I really like the game. So the drama was quite the head scratcher for me. So let's get into the actual meat of the subject. Palworld is exploding right now, one of the most popular games there is, and there is so much controversy around it, with tons of people trying to make anyone that likes it feel bad for liking it, making all kinds of arguments against it.
Especially the Pokemon fans, right? The Pokemon fans are really, really mad about this game. Which I don't get it. They should kind of, what's the name of the company? It's a funny name, right?
And I want to go
Game
through
Freak? Yeah, Game Freak. They should put pressure or at least ask for Game Freak to work more on the Pokemon game
through each and every one
instead of just criticizing a new game that has
one of these, because I find it to be really surprising that this is where we're at right now, and in the beginning of 2024, that we're mad at bootleg Pokemon here for doing what Game Freak refuses to do: innovate. So I've been very vocal about my distaste for Game Freak's work over the last decade and some change. I think Game Freak is the laziest developers in the world. They get the task once every couple years to go in and copy and paste their last Pokemon game with no real effort, and somehow they still fuck it up every time. The modern Pokemon games have been the same formula. They haven't changed anything. When they've tried with like Arceus, they didn't really go full hog wild with it. They dipped their toes into a couple of...
Another thing that limits on how good a Pokemon game could be is the fact that they are targeting the Switch, which is very weak hardware, and the textures, we can see the textures of the Pokemon games is not really good. And when you compare it with Palworld, it looks like another like 2 gens
of ideas and then fucking fell flat on it with mediocre execution. They're too afraid and not talented enough to actually use the Pokemon formula to deliver anything high quality. Multi-billion-dollar franchise, the most fucking lucrative franchise in human history, and the Pokemon games still look like they're made by middle school students as part of some kind of computer science project. It's embarrassing. Like Scarlet and Violet barely even fucking worked. And now we have Palworld that comes out from basically an indie studio.
The stories of this game, like, I think I saw someone talking about this. Like, they started working on this game on Unity. The Unity that you guys probably saw the whole controversy that they were gonna charge for game installations after a developer had certain amount of downloads. And Unity, it's good for making mobile games and smaller games, and it requires some optimization, I would suppose. And Unreal Engine, it's because it's in C++, it runs on lower level and thus can provide higher performance. So they have to migrate from Unity to Unreal Engine to make the game work, I think. And they didn't know how to use Unreal Engine, so they have to learn how to make the game using Unreal Engine, okay? They had to literally watch YouTube tutorials on how to do this. And they made a game which is being played by 19 million people, and they sold 12 million copies. Those 12 million copies, I think, how much is it? Let's see that. How much is it? How much money did Palworld made? So 12 million copies. Let's put a price tag of $25, which would be the average. $300 million. Okay. So they made a $300 million. Actually, $300 million. Revenue on this game, and they learned how to pretty much do the game watching YouTube, and they had to find a guy to work on the weapons, the weapons part of the game. And it was like a 20-year-old guy was working part-time job, and he had skills making guns on the game, making the gameplay in the game, and they hired him. The guy thought that they found him through YouTube and they hired him. Dude, this game, I think it needs to have a documentary on this game. The amount of coincidence and things that they need to do writing out to work, that is too much.
Pokemon.
It's like it's a mixture
so
of
much
luck
better.
And competency.
It should be celebrated that Pokemon is finally being realized for the potential of the concept. There is so much you can do with this, and Palworld is showcasing it, which is why it's so popular. So we shouldn't be content just accepting the sewage, the absolute rotten sludge that Game Freak feeds us when it comes to its Pokemon games, because now we've tasted delicacy with Palworld, and it's so far from perfect, but it's still so much better than anything Game Freak has done recently. It's not even a competition. But anyway, sorry, I keep getting off like on tangents right away, but I'm clearly pretty passionate about this topic. Yeah, so the first thing people immediately started to target Palworld for is the obvious, that it's extraordinarily derivative of Pokemon, even from its designs. There are so many...
the first thing that people started criticizing Palworld is the designs of the piles, right? Because let's be honest, a lot of the designs have a strong resemblance of the Pokemons, but some of them are different. Like, they just have the same style, and having same style, I don't think style can be copyrighted. I might be mistaken on that, but I think the only thing that might be corrected is the design itself, not style.
Pals in Palworld that are basically a carbon copy of Pokemon, just with the color changed. It's actually the meme of copy my homework, but don't make it too obvious, you know? And then you get the homework, and the only thing that changed is the name on the paper, but it's still the same. Admittedly, that is the case with some of the pals in the game. Not all of them, not even most of them, but a small chunk of them, for sure, are very clearly borrowing mini design elements from their Pokemon counterparts. So much so that my friends and I often refer to those pals by their Pokemon name, because they're so close. Now, this has gone a little bit chaotic on Twitter, where people are calling things that don't look similar copies. So a big one was Pin King in Palworld being compared to the penguin counterparts in Pokemon.
Let's see.
And
yeah, this it's just a penguin. It's different. The one has a hat. This one doesn't have a hat. Yeah.
These two don't look even remotely similar. They just take the concept of an emperor penguin and do something silly with it in different ways. This tweet sums it up nicely by saying that this actually showcases Palworld putting effort into changing a design concept around and making it their own. So it is a legitimate criticism to dislike how derivative some of the designs are and how it clearly borrows maybe too closely to quite a few of them, but it got out of control with people just saying that for every pal in the game.
Yeah, I think it's gonna touch on that, but the AI discourse on this game, it is unhinged, right? The AI because people are trying to find like the least. People are trying to find things to criticize, and I think some of the designs are quite similar, which would be, I think, the strongest case for criticism. Yeah, but this style, I don't think you could argue with that.
When it's just absolutely not the case. But this is a legitimate criticism that I think is totally reasonable to have and hold against Palworld. I too would like if their designs were a little bit more unique, for sure. That is one of my complaints about the game. Does it ruin my enjoyment of it? Absolutely not. It definitely doesn't. Is it a bit of a blemish on it? For sure. But now let's get into the ones that I think have absolutely no merit whatsoever. One of the major things people were saying day one with Palworld is that it's just an asset flip. This was a perspective shared by many that decided not to turn their brain off.
Yeah, let's talk about this. So, some people are saying that Palworld is an asset flip, meaning that they just taking assets from other games. Well, no, not older games. They are taking assets from, let's say, Unity and Unreal Engine have a store which pretty much have all kinds of 3D models to help make a game. So let's say if you want to have a desk or a TV or computer, in order of modeling that yourself, you just buy on the store. Which I don't see the criticism being right there or being correct, because of a game using assets. Plenty of AAA games use assets, either from previous games or from a store, which you can model everything. Like some of these indie devs, they are working on this 3D games. They need to buy those 3D models to have in the game because they cannot model. It costs a lot of money to model stuff, right? Especially if something that is really hard to model. Yeah, I don't get this criticism. It is a criticism that exists only for smaller devs, special indie devs, because this wouldn't fly with AAA game devs, right? Because they are always using some kind of asset flipping, because they utilize the assets from previous games, like when they remaster a map or something, which I don't see the criticism, because there's been this criticism of Palworld being a crash grab, or I think it was Eurogamer that said that this game was made to make money, which is the most obvious thing in the world. Every game, every product is made to make money, which I don't know where does that criticism comes from? Like, are they just hating? Are they just posting this to get clicks on their articles? It's very weird, man. Dude, it's very weird that criticism. The AI discourse, it's unhinged, man.
But let's start with this asset flip component. Now, in the first tweet, calling it creatively bankrupt, that's totally fine to say that. Like I said, there are a lot of designs that are very clearly borrowed from Pokemon, but overall, the product is not creatively bankrupt. I haven't seen a Pokemon with Guns style game that has survival elements that are blended together pretty well with a really large world with quite a lot to do in it. Granted, a lot of times, a lot of the biomes of the world are super barren and empty, but overall, I'd say that I haven't really seen any other games like.
Yeah, about this, the criticism that Palworld it's a creative bankrupt game. Do they think about? I don't know. Do they see the kinds of games that are released every year, like remakes, remasters?
Like Palworld. So
do people criticize when they like recently there was the Last of Us Part 2 remake or remaster from a game that's only just 4 years old, or the same people calling that creative bankrupt because it let's be honest, just a cash grab game just to make money.
I definitely wouldn't call it creatively bankrupt, but
it does like take assets and they do some kind of work to make it better, but they don't change much the game. Is that a creative bankrupt game? Are remakes and remasters that? Or yeah.
But maybe
kinda
he's
weird.
playing some real heaters behind the scenes that aren't released yet. But anyway, calling it an asset flip, I think is some absolute smooth brain nonsense. Either you don't know what an asset flip game is, or you're just baiting engagement through being incendiary for the sake of some numbers on your tweets. There's just no way anyone genuinely thinks that about this game. I am a connoisseur of asset flips. If you watch my streams, you know I do something called Bad Game Night, where I'll go through Steam's new releases and play games that nobody has ever heard of, looking for the stinkiest, most fat...
Pretty much looking at the worst games on Steam, right? The games that are just made to break even, or in the hopes that they might go viral, right? It's like if these games are asset flips on Steam go viral, they have the chance or the opportunity to make money.
Foul abominations game engines are capable of pumping out, and most of those games are legitimate asset flips. What it means is the game is composed entirely of store-bought assets, and everything is just jumbled together into an absolute mess that kind of works. Usually what it is some kind of open-world zombie horde shooter. That's your most notable culprit, your most common offender of being an asset flip. It just takes things from the Unreal Engine store, it takes the guns, the character, sets you in there, and you just randomly shoot zombies and other assets that charge at you, and that's the whole game. That's a fucking asset flip, and there's varying degrees of it, but that's your most egregious.
This kind of reminds me of Alien Shooter, which was a game that I used to play.
Example. Palworld should not even be in the same sentence as asset flip. Does it use assets? Absolutely. You know what else does? Everything else. Every other game in existence.
Yeah, every game uses assets from either Unreal Engine store, or they use assets from other projects, which what's the difference there? It's like one of them, because they are paying for the assets, so I don't see what's wrong with this.
Uses assets to different degrees. Palworld is no exception there. There is clearly assets there, but it's not the bulk of the game. It's not entirely composed of it or anything like that. They're used in their product the same way they are in every other major release. It's not a fucking asset flip. And if we're going to play ball with this idea, you know what would absolutely qualify as an asset flip to people that believe this for Palworld? Dark and Darker. Dark and Darker is another game that I absolutely love, and this was a video game industry darling for a little while, and Dark and Darker is almost entirely composed of Unreal Engine assets that they bought and put into their game. They openly state that much of the 3D...
Okay, much of the 3D graphics assets were purchased from the Unreal Marketplace, yeah.
Graphics assets were purchased from the Unreal Marketplace, and there are tons of links to them in the store that they used in their game. It's a ton of assets they used in it.
Yeah, they were
significantly more than Palworld. Why did I not hear a whole bunch of hoopla about Dark and Darker being an asset flip? It's weird. It seems really selective to just choose Palworld for this. It doesn't make any sense. You clearly haven't played the game and we're grasping at straws for something to shit on it for because it's popular.
I haven't played the game yet, right? And because of that, I don't have an opinion on how good the game is. I seen the reviews and the videos that people are talking about, especially Face Jeff. Face Jeff has been playing this game, and the videos that he's been making are hilarious. And he likes multiplayer games like I do, but yeah.
Is how it seems, because it is just by no definitions an asset flip. But now let's get into some of the other ones that have been very controversial. A big one is the claim that a lot of it was AI generative. Now, this is a real problem that I think the video game industry is going to be facing very soon with...
Yeah, so let's talk about AI now, guys. We got into this topic, right? So, yeah. So, I think that the timeline for the criticisms for this game, I think the plagiarism and AI generated art they are at the same time. And later, I think they're going to talk about. I think Moist is going to talk about the idea that Palworld might have stolen 3D models from some of the characters from Nintendo or Pokemon game. But the AI, this argument is pretty much because I'm gonna let him talk, and I'm gonna talk about later.
AI being integrated into games in a way that's going to be extremely scary going forward, take a lot of jobs, and produce a lot of slop. I think that is absolutely right around the corner. But right now, there is no proof at all that AI was used in any way in Palworld. Right now, all of that evidence is based off the developer, as well as a couple of statements I believe the CEO made in a previous project. There's a PC Gamer article going over this as well that talks about how...
Let's see. AI-powered accusations are currently based on vibes, a social deduction game, and CEO's past tweets about machine-generated fake emo.
This AI claim is right now just based off of hunches. Okay. There's a ton of people playing Super Sleuth right now and investigating whether or not AI was used, and at the moment there's no...
Imagine the dedication of these people trying to find, like, looking at every pixel, looking at every frame, trying to find something to criticize about this game. And it's not even because they want the game to be good. It's just that they want the game to be bad. So their favorite game is not... it is a very interesting development, I think.
No substantiated evidence to back up any claims that AI was used in this project at all. Now, if it does come out that AI was used in this game, that will certainly change my impression of it. I am not looking forward to the future where AI is replacing real human ingenuity in entertainment. I am very much dreading that. It's extremely concerning to imagine that future where all of your entertainment is...
Okay, let's talk about this now. So...
is just part of an algorithm that the AI knows that you're going to enjoy and clap and spit up at. So if it does come out that Palworld used AI in a big capacity during its development, obviously that's going to change how I feel about the game, 100%. But right now, again, there is...
just to touch on this, Asmongold, which he was under scrutiny, he was being... Oh my gosh. Twitter was... dragging, like, I don't know how many views that tweet got. A tweet talking about Asmongold. I think I have here, guys. Like, just a second, just to show you guys. Let me see if I can find that. I think I have the video, and I'm gonna talk this in my video. Okay, so I have here.
Ready to expect me to draw.
Okay, so let's watch this.
To expect me to draw a moral line, I have to perceive a difference that I consider substantial.
Okay, so this video is talking about the usage of AI in Palworld. So pretty much Asmongold saying that if they did use AI, it doesn't matter for him because he would enjoy the game just the same if it is using AI or not. And given this context, let's continue watching this video.
And I do not consider the difference substantial. Do you guys? No. Right. No. And that's really what matters.
Bro, this video.
If it was made with AI, I'm completely okay with that because it was fun.
Yeah, this is pretty much his take.
The evidence
It
is
doesn't
that
matter. Nobody really
the
cares
lead
about this.
developer has been very positive about AI in the past and made an AI game
We're gonna play
called
this, by the way.
AI Art Imposter that lets an AI artist draw a picture. And so that was like one of the games.
We're gonna be playing this week.
Yes,
So this is Osman reacting to Manga Mall.
generally has been much more positive about some of the benefits of AI rather than what is the normal sentiment amongst artists and I guess general Twitter population, which is that AI is bad and it takes jobs from people.
Well, AI and the sentiment from artists' opinions don't matter.
Okay, this was the thing that got a lot of people mad, which is that Asmongold said that the artist's opinion don't matter. But a lot of people don't really got the context, okay? Because he's not saying that artists' opinion don't matter in the context that they don't matter for themselves, I would say. I might be wording this wrong. It's just that the general the public, the consumers, don't really care about artists. They care more about the product itself, which we know is true because there are plenty of occasions where the artists and the people working on this products, games, films are screwed over. In games, it is crunching. Crunch is really bad, like people working 16 hours a day trying to hit a timeline and probably not seeing family and probably having the risk of getting sick because they're overworking, and people still buy the games that do crunching and some of those people are laid off, and we still buying the games, even though it is not just in video games. This happens in all industries. Like, people are not paid well enough, they work too much, they overwork, and we're still buying the products. And I wouldn't think why people would say that it's different when it comes to art or video games and movies. Why do people expect to be different? That's my question for them.
It just doesn't matter, because what matters is the opinion of the people that are buying the product. Like, it doesn't, like, your opinion on it, like, just because you do it doesn't, like, nobody cares. Like, it just...
Yeah, I disagree with nobody cares. It's just that the majority of people don't care. And that's a distinction there. I know that the distinction is not that subtle, but yeah, there's a difference between not caring and few people caring. That's the difference.
It's not relevant. It's like whenever one of these, like, really well respected and
that's the self-prophecy thing, because if people don't care, if artists don't care, nobody would care, right? And the majority don't care either way. So artists, it's like they have to care to try to change the opinion of the people who don't care. It's pretty much the flow. And some might get some people to care. Like, if an artist it's very popular and have a huge influence, like Taylor Swift, for example. People didn't care much about the misuse of image generation on images, right? People really don't care, like, for 4 or 5 years. And the whole Taylor Swift stuff might be the first thing that gets the regulation of AI in that case, because the Swifties are a huge part. They are huge, so they might have the influence enough. They might have the influence to change that. And in the artists, I think it's the same thing. And they are insiders of the industry, so they don't have much power, like, to change everything, but they do have power to at least try to do something.
really respectable directors talks about how bad Marvel
And unfortunately, yeah, I'm gonna
is. Shut up, old man. Bad Marvel is. Shut up, old man.
This part is funny. Should have, yeah,
Shut
pretty much,
up.
yeah, pretty much the video. So yeah, I think Asmongold, I don't think he's 100% correct, but it's like 95 and 7% correct. It's not that the nobody cares, just like the minority cares, like in the overall majority don't care. So yeah, I think that's just my nuance on this take.
There's no proof of AI being used here, and yet some people are singing it like it's the gospel and 100%.
Okay, let's wrap this video, guys. So, Palworld being a massive success, I think it's good because now the Pokemon fans can actually have something to as reference to what Pokemon or to reference as to what Game Freak can do. And this whole AI generated stuff is gonna be way more discussed. I'm gonna make a video on that later. This month of February, going through the whole thing, and some of the best arguments for and against. I think that's gonna be an interesting discussion. Yeah, this game might be the biggest game of the year already, with 19 million people playing the game, and it might be even higher until the end of the month. They still have some time to get more plays. Like, imagine if they hit like 30 million players, being the first game of the year. There's pretty much hit the mark, and being from a very small indie company from Japan. Yeah, that would be very interesting. So that's it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys in the next video.